So Newburyport lost a beloved poll worker this last weekend. Jenny Janzowitz passed away at the age of 95. She was married to her husband Stanley, also a poll worker, and enjoyed 67 years of marriage until his passing in 2018. A stay-at-home mom, as her children grew, she was employed at Western Electric as an assembler, retiring after 22 years. She was very involved in her community and faith, proud first-generation Polish American, a member of the Eucharistic Minister of Immaculate Conception Church, and a volunteer in the soup kitchen. She was a member of the Daughters of Isabella, a member of the Telephone Pioneers of America, and also volunteered her time with her sister Bernie as a performing clown for the pioneers at many hospitals and nursing homes. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Jones, if you would call the order.
The roll call for the City Council meeting on January 30th at 7 p.m. Councilor Wallace.
Here.
Councilor Wright.
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Councilor Zeed.
Here.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes, I'm here too.
That's also good. Councilor Donahue.
Here as well.
Councilor Khan.
Present.
Councilor Lane.
Well, I'm here.
Thank you. Is remote. Councilor McCauley.
Here.
Councilor Preston.
Here.
Councilor Vogel.
Present.
And Council President Chan.
Present.
We have 11.
Are there any late files?
Pleased to report there are no late files.
All right, so our main event.
We have a swearing-in ceremony of Police Officer Carly Samashko.
You guys don't stand for this? I thought we stood for this. Huh?
You can go right here.
I think we're just getting out of the way.
No, okay.
We'll go right here so they can hear us, right?
Stand if we really.
And then after. Are we all set? So if I might start, President, it's my distinct honor to swear in Carly Samashko to the Newburyport Police, and I'm going to read the oath of office, and then you can sign the big book, and I think we're going to have a pinning ceremony after the swearing in, so if you will. I, Carly Samashko,
I, Carly Samashko,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
and perform the duties of
and perform the duties of
a police officer
a police officer
for the City of Newburyport,
for the City of Newburyport,
to which I have been appointed
to which I have been appointed
in accordance with
in accordance with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the laws of the Commonwealth,
the laws of the Commonwealth,
the Charter
the Charter
and ordinances
and ordinances
of the City of Newburyport,
of the City of Newburyport,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so you have that pen.
I know.
It is 1/30/2023.
It's getting
You're going
better.
to sign your name right here. Great signature. Your address. She's signing right below Thomas Jefferson, just so you know. And then police officer's fine. Just police officers. That's good.
Marshal Murray, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I just, once again, thanks for allowing us to do this. I appreciate it. It's great for Carly and her family to do this in front of everybody in the community. I think they're going to be very happy, as I am, to have her as part of our police department. So I'm sure she'll make everybody proud. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Congratulations.
Always is.
Okay.
All right.
John's great.
Well, that was the high point. So, next is a public comment. So for those on Zoom, if you would raise your electronic hand if you'd like to speak. I'd like to give some running rules for public comment. I want to make sure everyone is cordial and respectful in their public comments, not naming any names here. Everyone will have 2 minutes. All right. Seeing no hands online, we'll just have public comment in-house. Thank you, Clerk Jones. So, 7. All right. So, first public comment is Joe Spalding. If you would give us your name, address, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, how you doing? Joe Spalding, Newburyport Retirement Board. Just here to ask the council's support on 2 COLA items that are on the agenda for tonight. First of all, we met with Budget and Finance, and they seem to be all set with it. So it'll come out, I think, 3-0. Second of all, it's time to replace that broken down fire station on Story Ave. It's gone past its time, so I'd like your support on that. And one more thing, and I'll get out of here. And Mr. Manning is up for reelection, reappointment. He works well with the retirement board. He's a good go-between the city and the retirement board, so I'd like to see him get reappointed for another 10 years or so. Thank you.
And just to make sure, that was 6 Bayberry Road. All right, next is Stephen Hawkrun.
Yes, I'm Stephen Hochburn. I live at 5 Arlington Street, and I'm one of the many residents who signed on to the letter about Arlington Street that's in your docket for the meeting tonight. Appreciate the opportunity to speak before you very briefly, and especially appreciate your interest in traffic calming. Arlington Street runs between High Street on the lower end, Highland Avenue on the upper end, and Highland runs along the northeast edge of the grounds of Anna Jakes Hospital. As many of you know, I'm sure you know, there is an access to Anna Jakes from Highland Avenue. As Arlington Street is the one two-way street that most closely aligns with that access, we get a lot of traffic at times. Much of that traffic is hospital-related. The problem is that many of these drivers drive far too fast for a residential street. Our homes sit close to the road. Our sidewalks run directly alongside the curb. There's no strip of grass between the sidewalk and the street. And it's frightening and downright dangerous when one of these cars blows by you when you're standing there. Something needs to be done, as we address in the letter, and it's important to not delay. Arlington is scheduled to be repaved this summer, I believe, Councilor Wallace. If something isn't done, we all shudder at the speeds that might be driven by those cars when they no longer have to drive around or through our many potholes. As to what can and should be done, it's a comfort to know we have experts in this city on traffic calming, such as the city engineer, Councilor Wallace. But we on the block are saying very clearly, and I want to say clearly now, this is not, here's a problem, you fix it. We'd love to be involved in the process, to provide input, to explore things together with the committee, with the council, with the city, and together come up with a way to address this problem, to rein in speeding on our street, and restore a sense of safety on our block. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
And next is Danielle.
Danilov. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm Danielle Danilov, and I live on Arlington Street as well. And I'm just following, Steve. He did a nice job of summarizing our concerns, but I'd like to briefly follow by saying a few words as a parent of 2 young boys. Many of our homes are very close to the street and have a short driveway, and it requires us to park on or very close to the road. And as a result, these cars are zooming by within 5 to 10 feet of our children going in and out of the doorways and the cars. Often, cars are parked on the street, which makes it harder to see cars coming when we're trying to back out of our driveways as well, especially if there are cars that are speeding up and down the street. And lastly, when parking on the street, which we often have to do, it can be challenging trying to get kids in and out of the car, especially if there are cars going by at higher speeds than they should. There are 6 kids, 6 and under, that are just between my house and the 2 directly across from us. And there are many more up and down the street as well, many young kids. And although, we try to teach them to be careful and mindful, it's hard because many of them are still little, and there's always the fear that someone's going to run after something or trip, or that one of these cars going too fast will simply get too close. So thank you for your consideration, and we really hope to be able to work with you to find a mutually beneficial solution to these concerns that we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Andrew Simpson.
Andrew Simpson, 1.5 Greenleaf. Excuse my nerves, please, again. I'm here to speak on the Parks reorg. First, I'd like to commend the Parks Commission and the Parks Alliance for all the work they have done in the past few months in clarifying their roles regarding our parks. Unfortunately, despite all the claims of this is a new plan, it really seems like the old plan dressed up with some additional pages. It's deja vu. The problem remains holes in the areas of park leadership and advocacy, as well as oversight and coordination, the main roles a dedicated, hands-on park director fills. The plan still spreads tasks across the government in a way that requires a level of coordination and communication that is unlikely to occur and be sustainable without somebody in charge. While there are letters of support from city employees, there is still no serious analysis of the costs of imposing additional tasks on DPS planning and youth services, or of the sustainability of having our very capable parks manager continue to handle as much as he does now and more going forward. Last time we met, many citizens took the time to speak out against the reorganization. I'm sure you all remember. They should not have to do it again, because little has changed. The people have already spoken. At a recent meeting, the chair of the Public Commission Parks Commission said that judging by what has appeared in the Daily News the past few months, it seems parks are being run well without a parks director. Well, as most citizens know, the Daily News publishes on the front page whatever the mayor says. Let's hope we all look deeper than what the Daily News gives us. I urge this council not to confuse public relations with transparency or accountability. I fear that under the mayor's plan, we, and perhaps even he, will not really know what is happening. Not because people are incapable or dishonest, but because the system has a bias towards separated responsibilities and nobody is in charge. City councilors, I respectfully urge you to again exercise your influence and have the mayor withdraw his reorganization. I also urge you to remind the mayor of his obligation to appoint a full-time parks director, a post that has been absent now for months.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Owen Smith.
Good evening. Owen Smith, 175 Story Avenue. First, I would like to acknowledge the administration has done the right thing by submitting appointment 375 for the interim director of DPS for your approval tonight. I am glad the administration recognizes that preserving the public trust by following the city charter is how they will be an effective administration. I think it is important that the city council understand how we got here. We all knew the DPS director position would become vacant. This was discussed during the budget season last year and early 2022. I mentioned the need to actively recruit for this position when I met with the mayor in May of 2022. The need to fill this position became urgent when the former director abruptly retired in August. Why was this position not advertised until early January, 5 months after we knew that we needed to fill the vacancy? If the administration had been serious about conducting a search for the most qualified candidate, why didn't it begin the search in August? Updating a position description and assessing needs should have been done prior to the position being vacated. A consulting firm was hired in the fall to aid in the recruitment, The lack of vigor in the recruitment process does not breed confidence that it is being done in the best interest of the city. And the reason I say that is because of the competitive job market that we've all knew about in the 2 neighboring jurisdictions posting jobs at the same time. Additionally, the mayor has not announced who is on the screening committee, even though he made assurances that he would on January 9. In order to build public confidence that the city is making a good faith effort to fill this position, the administration needs to be open with the public how they are evaluating candidates. It is my hope that the administration will take advantage of the talents of local experts to provide valuable input on what we need for a DPS director by including those people in the screening committee. And I heard some residents today speak on topics that I think would be really good things to discuss at the screening committee.
Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Tainter.
Sheila Tainter, 10 Dexter Street. I am happy that progress is finally being made on filling the position of the Director of DPS. This is an important position, and it is essential that it be filled by a highly qualified individual who will be able to manage a large staff and to plan and implement a range of complex projects. Although the position has been vacant since August, it was not posted until this month. The review of applicant resumes was slated to begin 2 days ago on January 28th. As Newburyport continues to address its aging infrastructure, coastal resiliency issues, and issues associated with impacts from climate change, it is clear we need a Director of Public Services who can bring an engineering background, broad experience, new skills, and progressive ideas to the city. Compared with other communities, Newburyport's job description sets a low bar for such an important position. Although it says that relevant technical and managerial qualifications and experience are desirable, the only requirements are either a bachelor's degree or related field experience or 10 years of experience in municipal public works construction and maintenance, including 5 years in a management position. Amesbury and Salisbury are also looking for DPW directors, and their stated minimum qualifications are similar to Newburyport's. However, both Amesbury and Salisbury list additional desired qualifications, including a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, certification as a professional engineer, and 2 other licenses. These desired qualifications reflect the importance of the position and the skills needed to manage a large and complex department. I hope the screening committee and the mayor will look beyond the minimum qualifications when ranking the candidates for the position of Newburyport's next Director of Public Services. We need to hire the best candidate for this very important job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Jane Snow.
Good evening. Jane Snow, 9 Coffin Street. First, definitely we need the fire station. Let's get that passed. Second, I really want to thank the administration and the staff for all the work that they've done with the parks. I know in the paper it listed a long group of things, but it was really interesting to attend the Parks Commission's meetings as they talked about developing their mission statements, their roles, and their vision. I think it was a wonderful, growing opportunity for them, and for me as a resident to listen to that discussion. Morrow Foundation had a few glitches, and guess what? People in the community stepped up, and I want to get the correct thing. It's the Port Park Alliance nonprofit has now been formed. They have gone through all the state hoops and bells and whistles, and they're ready to, they've already been to the Parks Commission, they're willing to work with them and to raise money to help our beautiful parks. And it was a wonderful thing that these 3 people immediately jumped up and helped to volunteer. It was wonderful to see Youth Services said, hey, we can help. You can use our programming that we do for the kids when they want to sign up for classes. Perfect for about adult recreation. Great. But to me, the most impressive thing of all was seeing the acting director Tuccolo and park manager Mike Hennessy work so well together. We've talked for years about merging those two departments, and it has always been a no-go. And they have proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that this does work. They worked jointly, both DPS and the parks, on Atwood Park period lighting, Joppa Park Walkway, and Patrick Tracy Park. And what a nice addition on all three to the city. The Parks Department, since this, has installed 80 trees in our park. I'm sure Councilor Preston is impressed with that. They've also started a program that they are being proactive and trimming the trees and feeding them, and so they don't need to be taken down. And yes, I know, I'm going to say one more thing. Simply that the plan is an effective organization for structures of support and management of our parks. Please support that. Thank you.
Thank you. And that is it for public comment. Mayor's comment.
All right, good evening. Good to see everybody. I want to thank Councilor Lane for all the roll call votes tonight. Thank you, Councilor Lane. Appreciate that. I want to thank those of you who came to the State of the City the other night. I really appreciated all the support. It was a tremendous night. We've got tremendous feedback from not only the speech, but also the first annual Public and Community Service Awards. I hope these are something that we can build on each year. It truly was the best part of the night. Something from the schools, Project 351. I don't know if some of you saw this in the paper. 8th grader Logan McKnight has been chosen as this year's Project 351 ambassador. Logan was picked for his leadership, kindness, and service to his community. And just for those of you that don't know about Project 351, the goal of this is to develop the next generation of community leaders through a year-long engagement of 8th grade ambassadorship from each of the 351 cities and towns here in Massachusetts. So congrats, Logan. I know you'll do a great job. Cutter West End Fire Station is in your packet tonight for final vote. I want to thank members of the department for coming out and support tonight. Project Manager Vining as well. We're ready to move on this. We want to be ready to go out to bid in March and hopefully break ground in early summer. So I hope to have your support on that tonight. Parks Reorg Plan is in tonight, so we look forward to that getting moved to the new Community Services Subcommittee. We're really excited about this plan. I know Mr. Simpson doesn't think we changed a whole lot, but I think what the plan does show is that we really listened to the residents the last time we brought this out, and we did make a lot of additions, and I do think that makes this more a complete plan. And I do want to appreciate all the people who wrote support letters for us, NYS, Parks Commission, Port Parks Alliance, Parks Manager, DPS. This is really a united front this time around, I think, because we were able to take all that feedback. And at bottom line, this is going to make our parks better. And I think that's what we all have to be focusing on. Also in your packet tonight is a city solicitor appointment. I know you're all looking forward to this one. So I put in to reappoint KP Law. Now, we can change the city solicitor at any time during the year. And in that, just wanted you to know that we have been looking for other options. Just we're not there yet. So right now, I think to go by the charter, I think the most responsible thing to do is reappoint KP, and we'll continue to look for someone either in-house or someone at least a little bit more local who can help us in a few key areas. But I look forward to hearing your discussion on that. DPS Director and Fire Chief searches, those are ongoing. Again, you do have a 3-month appointment for Acting Director Tuckalow tonight. We think Jamie's been doing a terrific job. Collins Center has now closed receiving resumes, so we're going to start with that screening committee. I do have the names of the screening committee, Mr. Smith, so get your pen ready. On that screening committee will consist of Councilor Donahue, Councilor Wallace, Councilor Zeed, HR Director Donna Drellick, Chief of Staff Andrew Levine, and Paul Neiman, who is a resident of West Newbury, but he is the former DPW Director in Salem, Massachusetts. So that committee will be getting together. We'll be sending out some information shortly. We have 4 applicants, I believe, for the DPS Director position, so we look forward to getting that process started. Let's see. Again, Fire Chief Screening Committee, I think you're making final vote tonight on our 9-member screening committee. We'll look forward to getting that process started February 1st. Plum Island Dredge started today, and then they had a problem about 2 hours into it. So they've got to make some repairs, and hopefully it'll get started back up here in a couple of days. So hang in there, Plum Island. We will get this dredge up and running again. And lastly, Newburyport Youth Services. So we put a request for funds as we go to Budget and Finance, so we can talk about this more once it goes there, but we are requesting funds from the Kelly School account to keep the design process moving forward, and we look forward to having that discussion as well as discussions around the site, I believe, at the next Budget and Finance meeting. And that is it.
Thank you.
Questions? Councilor Wallace.
Yes. Do you know when the road plan for 2023 will come out?
I think it's going to come out in the next packet.
Next packet, okay.
It'll probably come out more publicly before that, but then we'll submit it officially into the packet from there.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Follow-on questions? All right, thank you, Mayor.
All right, have a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Council Lane.
Hey, Mayor, no problem. I'll give you a big hug tomorrow with this crud.
All right. Clerk Jones, moving on to consent agenda.
Which consists this evening of the approval of the minutes for January 9th. There are 3 communications. Communication 458, mid-year budget report, go to Budget and Finance. Communication 459 is a letter from residents concerning speeding on Arlington Street to go to PW&S, so-called now. Then we have communication 460 to go, letters of support for the Parks Plan to go to CS, Community Service. Transfers. Transfer 147, Fire Department, free cash, $165,000 to salaries, Fire Chief, Firefighter overtime, and Emergency Management Director. Transfer 148, that's the sale of municipal buildings, $200,000 from that to NYS Design Services, same amount with EGA Architects proposal. First appointment 368, Kim Emmons, 9 Doron Drive to the Water Sewer Commission until 2/1/2025. We have the following reappointments. Appointment 369, Carol Wagon, 9 Olive Street to the Concom until 2/1/2025. We have David Vine, 47 Marlborough Street, Concom, 2/1/2025. They're both going to P&D, Planning and Development. Ethan Manning, 31 Howard Street, Director of Finance and City Auditor, 2/1/2026. That goes to Budget and Finance. KP Law, 101 Arch Street, Boston, City Solicitor until 2/1/2024. That's to go to General Government and Committee of the Whole. Karen Weiner, 7 Lincoln Street, Affordable Housing Trust, 2/1/2025 to go to Planning and Development. We have a confirmatory appointment. Last meeting, Jennifer Blanchet came in as zoning administrator. However, it should have been a 2-year appointment instead of a 1-year appointment. It is now coming in again, and that appointment would run until 12/31/2024. That goes to Planning and Development. Following items are coming out of their respective committees. Budget and Finance. Order 409, transfers 146, 145. Orders 405, 402, 403, 400, 405, 406, 407, 408, 411, and 412. General Government, Ordinance 134, license and permits, 2 applications, 119 and 120. Community Services, appointment 367. Public Works, orders 398, 399, Ordinance 133, Order 410. That is the consent agenda this evening.
Councilor Khan?
Yeah, Council President, I'd like to remove transfer 148 out of the consent agenda as well as appointment 375 and put them in the regular.
I'm sorry, and that was
Transfer 140
transfer 148 and
appointment 375.
I'm sorry, which one is appointment 375?
375?
The temporary appointment.
Of course.
Oh, that's already in the regular? Sorry. Okay,
That's
sorry.
not in the consent.
Okay, but transfer 148 you're pulling. Okay. Councilor Wallace?
I would like to remove order 402.
Okay. Councilor Zede?
I was going to talk about 148 Committee of the Whole, but I think we'll deal with that when it comes up.
Okay.
Now that it's out.
All right. Anything else? All right.
Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
All those, roll call.
On approval of the consent agenda, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes. All right. Regular agenda.
Council President.
Yes.
Point of order. I was wondering if you would entertain a motion to take Order 409 out of order. We have a number of folks here.
409.
That was a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Reason being is we have a number of folks here. It looks to be a long agenda.
Yep.
And I was just hoping we might be able to address this item first if the chair doesn't have the chair of the committee doesn't mind as well.
Councilor Zaid, you good?
Sure.
All right. Councilor Zaid.
So 409 is already out of committee, so motion to approve 409, Cutter West End Fire Station. Second. Thank you. So we had a committee meeting on this a couple of weeks ago. This is the Cutter West End Fire Station. Without belaboring the history of this plan, it's been in process for quite some time, having previously concluded in a bond towards the project in November of 2021. In the intervening time, the project process has continued, design, permitting, all of those sorts of different things, and that has led to the need for additional funding to cover a gap. Obviously, that is where the primary portion of the discussion is explaining that gap. So first thing is the planning office, and Jordy Vining is here, but I'll just summarize a little bit, did present to us, and then I forwarded it to everybody, a list of some of the changes that have been made to the project since November of 2021. I won't read all of them, but some of the highlights were the removal of a separate meeting room that was taken off the project. There were some other reductions made here or there into other smaller spaces, resulting in a total net reduction of about 200 square feet. The net zero aspect of the building continued to evolve after 2021, and geothermal, which had originally been included, was substituted for a less expensive but still net zero friendly option. So there were about 9 items on the list, but generally the trend on all of them were reductions, removals, or minor modifications. So the project is, for all intents and purposes, similar, with the primary thing being that meeting room coming off. So the project, that's what the project looks like. At the meeting, in addition to Jordy Vining, we also had Brian, who was joining us from CBRE, which was named the OPM of the project, the owner's project manager. And Brian presented to us a set of slides, pardon me, and those slides are available on the meeting post if you're interested. To summarize them as best as I could, he presented some pictures of the station, which I think everybody's pretty well familiar with at this point. But really the biggest takeaway was the impact essentially of inflation primarily on materials, and that is the primary driver of the reason for the increase in cost. He had a chart in there showing Massachusetts fire stations in particular. As an OPM, they have some experience across the state and data that they can draw on, and the curve is what you'd expect, sort of an upward trend on that. So then we talked about a few other things. We have already bonded part of that money. So when the bond was approved, the finance department, the auditor tend to decide on when to go out to the market to actually issue the bonds. In this case, 4.2 of that previous approval was already bonded, has already been bonded, and that was done to try and capture the lower rates in an increasing rate environment. So we still have to bond about $5 million more. According to the finance director, we'll be accessing that funding at around 3.5%. In terms of other conversations, we did talk about, how confident are we now that we have the right number? And the answer to that question was, first of all, the project's sort of been run into, it's on the razor's edge, essentially. There's really no more value engineering to be done. All the concessions that could be drawn were drawn in terms of reducing what they call the soft costs, the project manager cost and things like that. Everybody's running it as thin as they can. And in addition to that, the contingency has been brought to 5%, which is a little bit on the thinner side, but that's where it is. And there is a 4.5% escalation on top of what they estimated in this one to carry us between now and when the project's actually slated to be awarded and ultimately start building. So as mentioned, we have a lot of folks here who are qualified to speak on the project as well. I'm just trying to fill in some of the other gaps. So let's see, the other things that I could say is the additional $3.26 million, which is what's being requested here, will cost the city about $188,000 a year of debt service. It is expected to be a 30-year note. Then we had a brief discussion, as we often do, about sort of the debt picture and things like that. In the end, the general sense of the committee was we're pretty far down the pipe on this one. There's a clear need for it, both for the residents who are served by this fire station, but of course also for the health, safety, and wellness of our firefighters. And the committee saw fit to bring it to you 3-0 for your approval. I'll do my best to answer any questions, but obviously happy to defer to those who know more than I do. Thank you.
Questions? Clerk Jones?
Yeah, I think because of the previous vote, I think we should read at least the pertinent part, what amount we're talking about, right? If I could, into the record.
Yes, go right ahead.
So a loan order in the amount of $5,930,000.
Point of order. I'd also like to us to include a waiver of 7J in our reading of this.
Is that okay? So we have a motion to approve and a waiver of
7J.
Yeah. We could take 2 votes on it, just so that it can be recorded in the minutes accordingly. We did check with bond counsel, and we don't have to write it, but I think in the minutes at the bottom, it would be helpful if we had a motion to waive 7J, a vote, and then the final vote.
So we'll take a motion to waive before the motion to approve.
For a vote, yeah, please.
And do it separately.
Thank you.
So
You should explain what 7J is to the public.
7J is a city council rule that requires a bond of this magnitude to stay in committee for the greater of 30 days or 2 council cycles. And then Ethan Manning did check again with bond counsel, and they said that a motion, and I want to get out, let me get the exact language right. They don't want the word waive. Do you remember the word that they want? I'll have to look it up here real quick. I'll find it.
While you're looking.
Yes.
A loan order in the amount of $5,930,000 for the Cutter West End Fire Station project, which was approved by City Council November 29, 2021, signed by the mayor on December 3, 2021, is hereby rescinded and replaced with the following. Order that $9,190,000 is appropriated to pay the cost of design, bidding, construction administration, owner's project manager, clerk of the works, construction, furnishings, and outfitting of an appropriately 6,800 square foot new Cutter West End Fire Station, substantially similar to the plans prepared by the Winter Street Architects dated March 2021 and presented in concept form to the council on August 9, 2021, including the payment of all cost incidental and related thereto. And I think the remaining language is boilerplate. I need not read that, but I wanted to get it right.
So the specific language they want is a motion to suspend Rule 7J.
Got it.
That's what they like. So I
We
make
will
that
give that
motion
to
if anybody would like to
Second.
help with that.
So the motion to suspend by Councilor Zede, seconded by
Second.
Councilor Wright. Thank you.
All right, discussion. Roll call.
So on the motion to suspend Rule 7J, correct?
Yes, please.
Made by Councilor Zede, seconded by Councilor Wright. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
And now motion to approve.
And seconded.
Motion approved by Councilor Zede, seconded by Councilor Wright. We ready, Council President?
Roll call.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And we thought the pinning ceremony was the highlight of the night.
So we're going to get applause twice.
The pinning ceremony didn't cost us anything.
All right. All right, so back to the regular agenda. The mayor's update.
Motion to receive and file.
Roll call.
On the mayor's update, roll call, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes. All right, first reading appointments.
First reading reappointment.
I'm going to recuse myself for this first one.
The appointment 371, Suzanne Cameron, 17 Hancock Street, to the Affordable Housing Trust until 2/1/2025.
Motion to refer to Planning and Development.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron is recused. Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
5 votes 10, 1 recused. Next would be appointment 375, Jamie Tucolo, 19 Quentin Drive, as the temporary director of DPS until 4/16/2023.
Motion collectively for an emergency preamble and approval without the need for a second reading.
Second.
Discussion. Councilor Vogel.
Thank you. Council President, I stand opposed to not only taking up the appointment, but to an emergency preamble. I think in the spirit of our, essentially our charter, our rules by how the city operates, I think that the appointment is inappropriate. I think that rushing it along is also inappropriate. We did receive information from KP Law. They managed to skip the next paragraph in our charter, and I just think that in the spirit of how we're managing the city and how the city is being managed, that I think that we are outside of our bounds, and I think that this appointment should not be considered in this manner, nor should it be expedited.
Further discussion. Councilor Khan.
Well, I think Councilor McCauley had his hand up.
Councilor
It's all
Khan.
right. You go.
Thank you, Council President. I don't support the emergency preamble and the appointment tonight. I do think we should go through a process. It doesn't leave the city in a lurch with a dire snowstorm or sewer break or anything like that. I think it has been business as usual, and I think the director, the interim director, has done a nice job in that, in maintaining that. But for consistency standpoint, my consistency that I've preached all along here, I'm going to ask that it goes for committee for at least a reading. Thank you.
Councilor Khan.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. Yeah, I also was going to ask that we send this appropriately to committee. I also agree with the council from Ward 5 that we've already kind of had the interim position being fulfilled since a lot of transfers have had the name of Deputy Director Tucolo as the interim. And we've seen that. So I would request that we send this to the Public Works and Safety Committee, and that's what I hope we will do. I will not support an emergency preamble to pass this tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Wallace.
Initially, I was on the fence about this, but I think it is a good idea to send it to committee and do the proper vetting and follow the procedures. As long as what the councilor from Ward 5 said, we still have somebody who is able to perform their duties and there's no impact to the everyday function and safety of the residents. Thank you.
I think you have the vote.
Sorry?
Do you want to take it back? Do you want to still keep the?
Yeah, no, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
You withdraw your second?
I withdraw my second.
Motion to refer to Public Works and Safety?
Second.
Well,
I'm sorry. Could we add a friendly amendment to that to committee of the whole? Committee of the whole.
Yep.
All right with everything?
Yes. All right. Referring to Public Works and Safety and Committee of the Whole.
It was.
Second.
No, this time it was the Councilor McCauley.
Oh, he can have it.
Okay. Roll call.
This is a motion to refer the matter to Public Works and Safety and Committee of the Whole. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Council McCauley?
Yes.
Council Preston?
Yes.
Council Vogel?
Yes.
Council Shan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving right along.
So I believe we're at transfer 148, which was removed from the consent agenda. Am I correct?
Correct. Councilor Khan?
Yes, thank you, Council President. You know, I did hear that I think the Chair of Budget and Finance was going to recommend Committee of the Whole, which is what I want to do here as well. But I think I also want to, I feel at one point we said anything with youth services and this is maybe future in setting up our agenda. If it is in consent, I do think anything with NYS or in this topic, Committee of the Whole would make sense if it's put in the consent agenda. Thank you.
So noted, thank you.
Second on the motion to refer Budget and Committee of the Whole.
Second. Oh, it did here.
All right.
I've got a motion to refer to Budget and Finance.
Yes. And Committee of the Whole.
Committee of the Whole. Seconded by you.
Roll call.
Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue? Khan, excuse me.
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes.
Second reading of appointments.
Yes.
We have 4 second reading of appointments. First is Alice Sheridan, 11 Beck Street, Council on Aging, until 2/1/2022. Next is Paul Bushy, 1 Dennett Drive, Council on Aging, 2/1/2028. We have Ben Harmon, 298 High Street, to the Human Rights Commission, 1/30/2026. And Shane Koff, 7 High Street, Human Rights Commission, until 1/30/2026.
Motion to approve collectively on second reading.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes.
So, bear with me here. Someone removed 402 from the consent agenda?
402 is coming out of budget, though, so
Right.
I'll make a motion at that time to take it out of committee.
Okay. So that leads us to Order 413, parking garage in permit fee.
Motion to send to PWS.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan? Thank you.
Yes.
Council President, point of order. I'd like to suggest Order 417, 418, 419 go to Community Service. Order 414 go to Budget and Finance for approval, for a recommendation. I don't know about the other two.
I would say that the Brown School ad hoc could be general government.
Okay.
And 416 can be planning and development, the hazardous.
I need to recuse for 416.
So, everything but 416.
All right.
Okay, everything but 416. So what I have is 417, 418, 419 go to community service. We've got Brown School ad hoc going to general government. We've got Rotary Gift Club going to B&F.
Correct.
Yes.
And I've got that moved by Councilor McCauley, seconded by
I'll second, sure. And
Councilor Z.
413, the garage permit fee to city PWS, Parks Works.
We voted on that already.
We just voted on
That
that.
one.
So you just voted on that? Oh, all right.
Okay. Everyone know what we've got? Roll call.
I believe so. Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Council President, a point of order on something, may I?
Sure.
Rise? The Council on Aging appointment that we just approved, I thought that term looked a little long, and because I was the one that introduced the ordinance change, they did modify it from 5 to 3 years, so I'm wondering if it's okay to do a friendly modification on what we just approved to make that to 2026, not 2028. So I'm not sure procedurally how we want to do that. Thank you.
Two of us.
Motion to reconsider.
Well, it would be a motion to reconsider for sure, but the
Can do it in the same meeting.
The hesitation I have is the mayor's appointment coming in, and we're telling the mayor that
Right.
without him present, how long he can appoint. But we are just following the ordinance, correct?
Correct.
So, and he, I suppose, like anything, he can veto it. So let's do a motion to reconsider and
So moved.
and a motion to
Second.
amend.
So moved.
So motion to reconsider first.
Roll call.
361 and 362.
Yes.
Yes. Motion to reconsider. Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes.
Motion to approve through 2/1/26.
Second.
Roll call.
These are both of them.
For both appointments 361,
362
362.
collectively.
Okay. And is there a second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for the catch, Councilor Khan.
Motion to refer Order 416 to Planning and Development.
Second.
Excuse me.
And Councilor Wallace is recusing. All right, roll call.
Councilor Wallace is recused. This is moving Order 416, Planning and Development. Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
Councilor Shan?
Yes. Councilor Khan?
Sorry, I think because we did a bunch of orders and we sent them right away, was Order 417 on the Parks Reorganization Plan a committee of the whole or not?
No, they went to just
wasn't.
CNF.
Can we pull that out or can we just friendly amendment, make that a committee of the whole item?
Have we already voted on it?
Motion to take 417 out of committee and re-refer it back.
Second.
Committee of the whole.
Trying to do it, save time and we're killing ourselves.
That's city service.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to take it back and refer it back, but this time with the committee hall, all in one vote.
This is
Yes.
417, coming back and going back.
Roll call.
Committee of the Whole.
Coming and going.
Roll call on that matter. Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
And Councilor Shan?
Yes. Ordinances.
I believe that leaves us to ordinance 135, which is the zoning amendment removing the residential use component of the ITIF.
I make a motion to collectively have ordinances 135, 136, 137 go to planning and development.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Sure.
Oh, now's a good time.
Now's the time. Can I just? Okay, so Yes, am I recognized?
Yes,
Sorry.
Councilor
Thank you,
Khan.
Council President. I think because we're changing the membership, if I'm not mistaken, of the planning board, right? I mean, that's a pretty substantial item. And so I understand we don't want everything to be committee of the whole, but if folks did want to speak on that. So I guess maybe to not belabor us with committee of the wholes, if the chair would entertain anyone who does have comments on that, we could either send that or we can make a committee of the whole. So I just didn't know. I knew that this was long in coming. I've always heard about this being something that would be good to do, but I know there's a lot of debate around it. So I just want to make sure we're aware as we're grouping things and sending them to committee. Sometimes it's helpful for my mind to individually look at what each one entails and how much involvement we want from the colleagues here. Thank you.
Councilor.
I think we could just make the latter two committee of the whole, and anyone who wants to comment,
Perfect.
then we don't have to.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
No, I assume that was a friendly amendment.
Yes.
Yes.
Friendly.
Very.
Very friendly.
Okay, so we are voting on referring to planning and development ordinances 135, 136, and 137, with 136 and 137 also being committee of the whole.
Correct. Roll call.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron. Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, that wasn't too painful. All right. Committee items, Brown School Ad Hoc. Councilor Vogel.
Yes, thank you. We skipped the last meeting, or canceled the last meeting because of the weather, and we hadn't, so we have yet to reschedule, so we're looking to reschedule. We have before us a lot of information about the request for information, and we'll be getting that out. We've been working through the language. The planning director has been working through the language, and we'll get that out, and then look forward to putting together the next meetings, and based on our conversations from the general government.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Vogel. As far as Market Landing Park, I owe us a date for a meeting. Now that we have an idea when we're going to be doing the parks hearings, we'll set a date sometime this coming week. All right, Budget and Finance. Councilor Zede.
Motion to approve transfer 146, 125K.
Second.
This is our very standard ongoing transfer that we do all the time. DPS purchases fuel in its budget, and then other departments effectively reimburse to sort of buy the gas, in a sense, from DPS. The amount is 125K, committee 3-0.
Discussion? Roll call.
On transfer 146, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Motion to approve transfer 145, 10741, free cash to Essex North Shore Tech.
Second.
This is about $11,000 transfer. The budget that was passed reflected enrollment of 5 students at Essex North Shore. There are 6, so the 10-7 is the difference. 3-0 out of committee.
Discussion? Roll call.
To approve transfer 145, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan. Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Next is motion to approve order 404, pay prior year bills.
Second.
This is about $3,200. We've seen a couple of these. Sometimes invoices trickle in after the end of the fiscal year. And so there is the pathway in Mass General Law for us to pay those bills, but that involves requesting approval from the council. Just because I hadn't thought about this before, but when you pay a prior year bill, you do pay it out of this budget. So obviously you can't reach back into a prior budget. Typically there's small amounts like this, $2,500, $5,000 every once in a while. There's one that's higher. Committee 3-0.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron? Yes. Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor Lane?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Vogel?
Yes.
And Counselor Shan.
Yes.
Next is a motion to remove Order 402 from committee, please. Belleville Improvement Society.
Second.
Counselor Wallace is recusing?
Sure. Just to remove, so I'll wait for that.
Okay. Okay.
Just a motion to remove, unfortunately. It was taken out of the consent, so it's not out. I think I need a vote on that first.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. That would be roll call.
Yes.
Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor Lane?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Vogel?
Yes.
And Counselor Shan.
Yes.
Counselor Wallace
Motion
is
to
recused.
approve.
Second.
This is a $520 gift from the Belleville Improvement Society. It was specifically directed for use for loam at Atkinson. The funds have been received, the loam has been purchased and put down, and the committee said 3-0 in favor of accepting this gift.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call.
This is Order 402. Counselor Wright?
Yes.
Counselor Zede?
Yes.
Counselor Cameron?
Yes.
Counselor Donahue?
Yes.
Counselor Khan?
Yes.
Counselor Lane?
Yes.
Counselor McCauley?
Yes.
Counselor Preston?
Yes.
Counselor Vogel?
Yes.
Counselor Shan.
Yes.
Counselor Wallace
Is
returned,
recused.
I believe.
She was recused, I believe.
Okay, I'll try and do a couple of them together. So a motion to approve 403, 405, 406, 407, and 408.
Second.
Thank you. So first thing is, I should have probably prefaced the last one, but this is kind of our first foray into acceptance of gifts, and we did express some gratitude to the finance director for helping facilitate that. It's been the subject of much discussion, and so we had a bunch of them. Committee was pretty efficient, I would say, at going through them, and hopefully we'll do that here tonight as well. So let me run down them here. The first one is 403. That's from the Central Congregational Church. It is a split. It's a total amount of $2,500, $500 for senior transportation, and then $2,000 also for senior transportation, the just different sources. So the $2K came from the chocolate tour, annual chocolate tour. We did ask if there's any specific plan to spend that money. The answer is not yet at this time, but that it would go into an account, and that account would then, a COA gift account is what the finance director called it, and then it's really largely at the COA director's sort of behest as to how these funds will be spent. So $2,500, it is directed towards those specific purposes and will be spent eventually. The committee saw fit on that one, 3-0, so that's 403. Next one is the font gift acceptance. This is 405. So 405 is $9,000, Friends of Newburyport Trees. I did reach out after our committee meeting to ask for a few more details. The trees are planned to be planted in the spring. They're looking at roughly 12 trees. There are no specific locations selected yet. That's to be determined as we get a little bit closer to the spring. As always, the funding for each tree includes the purchase, installation of tree, as well as 2 years of watering. And the committee accepted that, or recommends we accept it with gratitude as well. 406 is Saga, S-A-G-A, and this is $500. The donor is Kevin Hudson. Sexuality and gender acceptance. We did have an attendee join us and speak to this. They're working with the Newburyport DEI on some various initiatives, and in particular, this is towards having some events and programming during the month of June. I think the mayor mentioned the formation of this group in his update, and so the committee recommended acceptance of this. There's no specific event yet that was called out, so that is to be determined. And then 407 and 408 are both gifts as well. $4,000 for 407. This is for a sculpture at Patrick Tracy Square that did pass through the Parks Commission and has actually been installed. And the next one is also a sculpture, $6,000 to be placed and has been placed in Patrick Tracy Square and has been approved by the Parks Commission too. Again, committee recommended approval on all of those, 3-0.
Thank you, Councilor Zede. Discussion. Roll call.
Roll call on jointly approving 403, 405, 406, 407, and 408. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Next is a motion to approve Order 400, Moral Foundation gift acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. So this one we did talk about in committee. There's actually two pieces to this. One is the acceptance of a new gift, new money, so to say, $110,000 that is being donated to the city by the Moral Foundation. That is consistent with, as you know, prior years, prior amounts, typically about 110 in December. And then in addition to that, there's a reallocation of prior accepted funds in the amount of $69,050 to be exact. You probably read through the memo, but the long story short is the Moral Foundation, both with the new funds as well as the reallocation, is concentrating their efforts on the Bartlett Mall to coincide with the playground project that we've talked about recently, as well as the potential larger project, which is still working its way through. We did have a little bit of conversation in committee and then some questions afterwards. To the extent that I can not open a can of worms, this isn't Conservancy money, or it's not considered Conservancy money. This is considered your traditional Moral Foundation funds, and that's the 110 again, which has been consistent with prior years. And the 70K we've already previously accepted, but at the time had been accepted for different other projects that for whatever reason have either stalled or maybe not come to fruition. And so this is what the Morals are asking us to direct their funding to. The committee did deliberate, and 3-0 was the final vote on this one in committee for recommendation.
Thank you. Discussion. Roll call.
Roll call on approving Order 400. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
No.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, last a couple here is I'm going to do them together. Motion to collectively approve 411 and 412.
Second.
Okay, so 411 is a COLA increase, cost of living adjustment increase. So the state essentially sets some bounds as far as what your COLA can be. And recently state law changed it. 3% was previously allowed to be the maximum increase that's allowed, and then state law was updated to allow a potential larger amount. In this case, it's being requested to go to 5%, and then the local boards then adjudicate it how they see fit, which involves the Newburyport Retirement Board itself talking about it, making a consideration, and then the council approving it from there on. So this is, as I mentioned, order number 411, and essentially what the desire is, move the COLA from 3% to 5%, both retroactively to the beginning of this fiscal year, which would be July 1, 2022, and then going forward from there as well. So natural next question is, so what is the impact of this from sort of an actuarial high level? There's a couple ways that this impacts. First of all, it does not change the sort of annual amount that is put in. You might recall in your budget books, you see an amount put in. That's not what's going to change. What's going to change is the end. So the end moves out a little bit further in order to accommodate this. So rather than finishing in 2034, this will change it to end in 2036, meaning when we're fully funded on our obligations. And that's a discussion we have often with budgets. The state does allow you to go to 2038, but we don't need to go to the max that puts us on a schedule that would still end in 2036. Financially, we're changing the liability in aggregate from $38.3 million to $40.4 million by going back retroactively to July 1, 22. And then we're going from $40.4 million to $41.2 million by going forward. So the total impact is essentially from 38 to 41, spread out of all of those years. So as I mentioned, the budget doesn't change. Basically, we just have a longer time period until we meet the obligation. So that's 411. The primary drivers for desiring the higher increase is that word everybody loves these days, inflation, and just that it has not been changed for a long time. We did have Joe Spalding come and join us and talk a little bit about how things have been a little bit stagnant. I think it's been at least 20 years, maybe more, since this number has been talked about or changed, so it's been a while. The second one is 412, which is a base. So you have a percentage, and then you have a base on which it is calculated. And there's a sort of a similar concept here. The state provides through MGL a range. The maximum it can be is $18,000. The request here is not to go to the max, it's to go to 15. Sort of a similar conversation, just dealing with cost pressures and things like that. Many communities have maxed out everything, but that wasn't the desire here. And so this would change that base again. And this one is not retro, it's effective July 1, 2023. So in the end, the committee also did it collectively and recommended approval together, 3-0. And that's the story.
Thank you, Councilor Zede. Always thorough. Discussion. Roll call.
It's approving orders 411 and 412. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes.
Thank you.
And no more business. We will have our standing meeting, 6 o'clock on Thursday. We will be taking up NYS 59 Low again. Plan to docket the transfer first, although kind of just will bring all of the 3 related items, the transfer, the bond, and the FAQ, or the 3. They're all committee of the whole, up for discussion. And our primary area of discussion will be the site. So if you are preparing and you have questions about the site, this would be a good meeting. Ethan Manning is not available this Thursday. He's on vacation, which is why we're not talking about money. But as soon as he's back, we will. And at the same time, we'll do things like the mid-year financial report and his appointment when he returns from his absence. So I want to invite all of you to that if you're interested, as it is committee of the whole. And that's it for budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Zede. So, general government. Motion to approve ordinance 134.
Second.
So the committee discussed with Clerk Jones the amendment to the municipal fee schedule for passport photos. As Councilor McCauley was the sponsor, I'll defer to him, but he can correct me if I'm wrong here. What's happened over the last 10 years is we've been charging $10 less than what CVS and Walgreens has been charging. And in the last 10 years, the processing machine has gotten a little old, long of the tooth, and a new machine was needed. Actually, some of the photos that were being sent out for passports were getting rejected because of the fuzziness of the old photo machine. So I think we have old and new if everyone wants to see it. They mentioned that they do about $50,000 worth of business each year. The problem they've been seeing with the old machine is the fact that the ink costs as much as it does. So by going to the comparable fee for passport photos, similar to our local Walgreens and CVS's, we would be able to pay for this. Did I miss anything, Clerk Jones?
No, I mean, we did do some research on it. I mean, roughly, we're about twice as efficient. It's about 1/2 the cost of each print. Council Vogel asked us to do a little homework, and we did. The new camera is about $1,000. It will be paid off fairly quickly. But essentially, we were $5 below our competition. Actually, 6 or 7, we'll still be below some of it. So for accuracy's sake, AAA is $15 per set. Basic members pay $10. CVS is $17. Walgreens is $17. We're proposing $50.
Further questions or discussion? Thank you, Clerk Jones. Roll call.
Approving ordinance 134, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
And Councilor Shan.
Yes, thank you. That is it for general government. We have a meeting on Monday. We'll set the agenda later this week, whether we do the city solicitor or not, since that is committee of the whole. License and permits.
Motion to approve applications 119 and 120 collectively.
Second.
Discussion.
Thank you. So in committee, we voted in favor of both of these applications for used car selling licenses. And with the caveat to application 119, the clerk was going to check on the continuance of the insurance. He's had those, or attempted to have those conversations with the applicant, and has assured me that as far as he can tell, all is well, and he's going to continue to be certain that it is correct. In committee, we voted in favor 3-0.
Further discussion? Roll call.
On applications 119 and 120, Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
And Councilor Shamp?
Yes. Anything else?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Community Services, Councilor McCauley.
Thank you, Council President. In community service, we have a motion to approve, actually a motion to receive and file application 367, Lena Mata to the Board of Health.
Second.
Thank you. The nominee was present to discuss her appointment. She gave a 3 to 5 minute overview of her background, her motivations, and her goals. Her background was a degree in pharmacology, master's in public health. She's currently at Brigham and Women's as the Director of Ambulatory Services. She has a familiarity with the collaboration needed for hospital operations. She favors creating new innovative projects to approach things differently. She was motivated by her father, who was committed to public health and service, traveling to help control malaria. She would like to find a way to give back into her new community. She's moved here recently from Brookline. Her goals are to proactively promote public health. She wants to listen to how people are reacting to new programs and reach out. The committee reviewed her application. We asked a couple of questions from both Councilor Preston and Councilor Donahue, and we voted to bring this before the council for its approval, but really it's a receive and file.
Questions or discussion? All right. Roll call on receiving and filing.
Appointment 367, Councilor Wallace?
Yes.
Councilor Wright?
Yes.
Councilor Zede?
Yes.
Councilor Cameron?
Yes.
Councilor Donahue?
Yes.
Councilor Khan?
Yes.
Councilor Lane?
Yes.
Councilor McCauley?
Yes.
Councilor Preston?
Yes.
Councilor Vogel?
Yes.
And Councilor Shamp?
Yes.
Council President, I'd also like to give an update. We had invited the department head from Recycling, Energy, and Sustainability into our committee. We talked to Department Head Molly Ettenborough in the committee. She highlighted a couple of things that I'd like to pass on to the council. The cost of energy is the #1 driver right now. The city was prepared for the cost increases through our proactive work in the community aggregation program. We were poised to strike when the rates went up. There's an estimate here that the city over the next year will save over $2 million of charges, both the residents as well as the city itself moving to this program. The main challenge is continuing to get the information out to the public. There's always a lot of questions about this. She stated that 60% of the city's energy needs are now being met by green sources through either direct or through programs, repurchasing, et cetera, along the way. She was concerned and has raised a flag for all of us that the city's facing a crossroads when it comes to trash and recycling. The cost of trash and pickup and disposal is rising over 50% this year. Mostly it's labor and insurance rate borne by the provider himself. The plan right now is to renew it 1 year at the market rate, which will be higher, but there's a longer term solution that we all fear is going to come sooner rather than later, which is 2024, starting in June 24. And those proposals have to be a mix of all options: auto pickup of barrels, composting, recycling, repurposing. We're going to have the dreaded barrel discussion yet again on the horizon. And her team is right now planning and exploring all of those different options going forward. In resiliency, the committee Her committee meets regularly with the Resiliency Committee. There's a recent publication and brochure which everyone was mailed to all the citizens. I hope you got a chance to look at it. She's working with National Grid to secure the electric plant that we have in the city. There's further protections for the wastewater treatment plant, and working with the water department to help secure our sources of water and some of the projects that we have funded. The committee pivoted to the ongoing discussion that's going on about the availability of electric vehicle chargers going forward. We had a public comment by Max Tilson, Dr. Max Tilson, who we recently appointed to the Board of Health, and he's moved to the city. He's asking us to accelerate our plans to get more of these grids in. He has gone electric. He has challenges finding availability of chargers. We pointed him to different chargers along the way. Molly Edinburgh had concluded that we probably have 10 stations set for the park. We have 10 stations maybe set for Green Street. But all of these are 8 to 12 beyond months before we get there. We are signed up with National Grid to do a approval on a pilot. They need DPU approval to be able to get that done. But the whole idea here is they would push chargers out into the neighborhoods so they'd have a community charger out in the neighborhood. They're doing pilots in Melrose and a couple of other cities along the way. We're trying to get on board with that. Again, it affects the building of the grid and the maintenance of the grid itself to be able to do that. All of this is because we're trying to prevent people from running electric cords across the sidewalks and creating tripping and other safety hazards going forward along the way. And that was her visit to us, an update on all the good things that are going on. My final update is on February 7th, which is a regularly scheduled meeting for community service. From 6:30 to 7, we plan to talk to the Council of Aging and the Friends of Council of Aging. And then from 7 to 8 is the Committee of the Whole plan for review of the Parks Plan. Talk to the administration. They will come in and give us an abbreviated presentation of the plan. We can ask questions. It'll be mostly for councilors. And then we've targeted February 15th for our public hearing on the Parks Plan itself. Both of those meetings are planned to be hybrid along the way in the City Hall. So thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Councilor McCauley. Councilor Cameron.
Thank you, President. Nothing to report. We will be meeting on February 9th, which is a Thursday at 6 o'clock, and we'll fold many of the items that we've referred tonight there, so several of those will be posted as a committee of the whole. So hope to see you there then.
All right, thank you, Councilor Cameron. Councilor Wallace, Public Works and Safety.
Yes, thank you, President. A few items to go through. So first off, forgot I recused. I'm not muted, am I? All right, first off, motion to approve Order 398, snow emergency parking on Auburn Street.
Second. Good.
This is sponsored by Council President from Ward 3, but I believe we discussed it's actually in Ward 2.
The lines changed.
The lines changed, okay. So this is to allow emergency snow parking on Auburn Street as a result of parking that was lost to the smaller basketball court or paved area at the mall there. So the chief of staff attended the meeting and he said it was cleared with DPS, and I believe there weren't two of us. It was approved 2-1. One of the concerns was that Auburn Street is a fire station route. So that's where we stand. I don't know if the sponsor wanted to explain any more, but again, approved 2-1. Thank you.
Certainly. So we had the fire folks come out when we first did this years ago when the Bartlett Mall was being closed off to parking. And since it's such a wide street, that was the street that they actually recommended, because we initially thought about using Greenleaf, which is too narrow. So by using Auburn Street, the fire trucks still don't have a problem getting through. And the last 2, I think 3 years we've been doing this now, it's been no problem, and DPS has done a great job of making sure the cars, once the cars are moved, they clear it out pretty quickly. So it's been going quite well.
Follow-up question. So they have been doing this
for the last 2 years.
So that was kind of a trial run?
Right. So we said we would see how it went for 2 years to see if we still needed it. And I had heard from residents last year that it was working well and that it's still a viable option instead of trying to get down to other locations like the other spot, which would be probably Cushing Park or the garage. So,
okay. Thank you. I yield.
Further discussion. All right, roll call.
On Order 398, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, next item. Motion to approve Order 399, the asphalt sidewalk waiver for the West End Fire Station.
Second.
All right, this is sponsored by the councilor from Ward 5, and it's very straightforward. They're proposing as part of the fire station project to use asphalt on the surrounding sidewalks and asking for a waiver from our sidewalk ordinance. One, due to the cost of the project and trying to keep it as low as possible. There's currently asphalt out there right now, and the Ward 5 councilor approves of this. It's typical in his ward to have asphalt, so we approved it 3-0.
Further discussion. All right, roll call.
This is on approving Order 399. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
Yes.
All right. Motion to approve Ordinance 133.
Second.
All right, so this one is a little more confusing, but bear with me here. It is amendment to Chapter 13 to allow parking for in-street residents in the in-street mixed-use area, parking in the Green Street lot with opportunity for up to 5 households to park in the lot overnight. Now, the sponsoring counselor is counselor from Ward 2, and we had a lot of discussion about would developers want to start doing this and being able to use spots for their residential construction for their residents that would buy their properties. Would people need to move their cars during the day because there's only a 3-hour limit? And how do you determine who gets the permits? How do you determine the number? So we didn't come to a full resolution, but we thought it would be a good idea to bring it out to the council for discussion with the whole group. So it was voted out 3-0 with no recommendation. I defer to the sponsor if she wants to fill in the blanks.
Sure.
Councilor Donahue.
Thank you. So the number does seem arbitrary, but it was basically my best effort to help a situation that is ongoing with the downtown and the residents around the in-street parking lot. But I'm not really dying on a sword for it. So I don't think it would be a problem to add one more. I don't see it causing a trend, and anything like that would have to come before us anyway. Certainly would never be in favor of this being something in place with development and anything like that. Just a good faith effort to respond to constituent complaints. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but let the conversation continue.
Councilor McCauley.
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I was one of those people in the committee in our discussion that really was not in favor of this at all. I think it sets a bad precedent. I understand the situation that the sponsor was in, approached by a constituent to be able to remedy an inconvenience more than anything else. We don't have any overnight parking, authorized overnight parking in our lots. We know people do them. We don't have enforcement along the way. But in this particular case, it was an older deal done with the development of in-street and some of those lots that they were before, only for cars that would be authorized to be able to park overnight. And now it would be 5, when do we stop, et cetera, along the way. Our lifeblood is tied to the availability of parking within municipal lots. Our downtown feeds on it. As we know, our outdoor dining relies on it, et cetera, along the way. And we start, quote unquote, assigning spots in the public along the way. I know, again, there was a previous, before us, kind of deal to be able to get this done, but I think this is a bad precedent of allowing authorized overnight parking in our municipal lots. So for that, I voted against it. Thank you.
I actually have a question for Councilor Donahue. Have we ever not had enough spaces? Was 4 not enough?
I would have to defer to Clerk Jones.
It's funny you say that. At first, we opened it up at the beginning of January, which we do every year, and surprisingly, we had only 1 or 2. And then all of a sudden we had 3, then we had 4, then we had a 5th, 6th, and 7th, and we said no to the 5th, 6th, and 7th, naturally. So it was a little slower this year, but they're still there. And I'm sure if it was more widely advertised, we'd have more, because who wouldn't want to park in Green Street for shuttle?
Okay, thank you. Councilor Zede?
Yeah, thank you. I too can't support it. The challenge I have, and kind of an ongoing theme, as some of us know, is somehow spaces get counted into 15 different buckets. It's used by certain folks to meet a permit. It's then also counted or wants to be used for residential use, et cetera, and on it goes. We've really, as we are learning, have changed a lot of the formula with parklets, for example, taking up spaces, but also putting pressure on previously provided permits. And there's a lot of balance changing on some of these things. And while I don't think we need to go back and take away the 4 that were there, supporting its expansion, even in a relatively moderate way, doesn't seem like a prudent thing to do. So I think we leave it at 4. I know that with things like transient vendors, some of these legacy programs are hard to get rid of. So I just say we leave it at 4 for now. We appreciate the residents' concern, and the Ward 2 councilors certainly understand trying to help. Just a tough one where things were built where really there maybe shouldn't have been in the first place, or wasn't really the land to support it in terms of parking. So I would make a friendly suggestion that should anybody be counting, maybe there's a desire to receive and file it rather than take a negative vote, but that's just a suggestion, depending on how people feel.
All right, well, Councilor Vogel and then Councilor Vogel.
Thank you, Council President. I think I'm going to stand in favor of adding a space. I think we're talking about overnight parking. We're not talking necessarily about a great burden. I also think that we have, since this has been in place, that we even had this type of parking for residents nearby. We've since built a parking garage, and we've more or less expanded our parking over there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and vote in favor, stand in favor of it. I'd like to maybe even take this and make it go further and see what else we can do to accommodate our citizens.
Further discussion. Roll call.
Okay, this is on a motion to approve ordinance 133. Councilor Wallace.
No.
Councilor Wright.
No.
Councilor Zede.
No.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
No.
Councilor McCauley.
No.
Councilor Preston.
No.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan.
No.
Motion fails.
Motion to receive and file.
Kim?
Second. You need to adjudicate it, right? No, it's dead at that?
It failed, it's dead, right?
Fails, right? Yes.
It's failed.
It's dead.
But it's still on the floor, no? No?
It's
Okay.
Dead. Fine.
All right,
Deceased,
Councilor Wallace.
ceased to exist.
All right, last one here. Motion to approve Order 410, the Fire Chief Screening Committee.
Second.
All right, this is sponsored by Councilor from Ward 5, and this is just a list of the members that has been appointed by the mayor. And this is by code, and they will be following the process, so they have to meet in 30 days, talk about how they're going to go through the hiring process, and pretty straightforward. It was approved 3-0 coming out of committee. Thank you.
Further discussion. Roll call.
Roll call on approving Order 410. Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede. Yes. Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
Yes.
Councilor Shan. Thank you.
Yes.
Right, and one more,
Council.
a couple more updates. We did have a discussion on Phillips Drive, and we had a couple of the residents attend, and construction has begun on Phillips Drive. Woohoo! And we discussed having a site walk and maybe do that at some sort of time where there's a some sort of milestone, or just so the councilors can see what's going on and touch base with the residents again. I know there was a little bit of a hiccup over the weekend. Councilor Lane was out there. There was either groundwater or water leak, but our DPS was on it, engineering, water department. So hopefully that's being taken care of. But in general, it sounds like it's going well. And also, I just want to say that on February 7th, Tuesday, February 7th, at our regular scheduled meeting, at 5 p.m., we're going to be doing a hybrid meeting, and that will be, we'll have the DPS director on there, and then Councilor McCauley's meeting, Community Services, will be at 6:30, so it could be a long evening, but kind of using what Councilor McCauley has been doing and what he did in the Public Safety Committee beforehand. We hope to invite the different department heads in and talk about what they've got going on, what their needs are, and get some information, ideally kind of before budget season, kind of a little preview, and kind of bounce some ideas off of each other. So I'll get those scheduled, but again, that's February 7th, 5 to 6:30.
Thank you, Councilor Wallace. All right, good of the order. Councilor Lane, I see your hands up.
Thank you. I just wanted to thank the Ward 4 Councilor for mentioning Phillips Drive and having it mentioned as part of the conversation. We did have a little bit of an issue, so I know that the residents are eager to get that project really going. And I just wanted to thank the DPS and the Water Department for their prompt response. 11 o'clock at Friday night and throughout the weekend, and they really went above and beyond. So I just wanted to take a minute and thank them.
Oh, that was kind of you. Thank you, Councilor Lane. One item, so Councilor McCauley did mention that he's going to have the mayor and staff come in to talk about the parks. We talked with Clerk Jones tonight. The first public hearing will be February 15th, 6:30. It'll be hybrid, probably do it upstairs like we did the last time. So mark your calendars. Anything else, councilors?
15.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
For the public
Roll
hearing for
call.
parks.
On the motion to adjourn, Councilor Wallace.
Yes.
Councilor Wright.
Yes.
Councilor Zede.
Yes.
Councilor Cameron.
Yes.
Councilor Donahue.
Yes.
Councilor Khan.
Yes.
Councilor Lane.
Yes.
Councilor McCauley.
Yes.
Councilor Preston.
Yes.
Councilor Vogel.
That's when we're supposed
Yes.
to speak at the
Councilor
NBCC.
Shan.
Yes.
That's all there is tonight.
Thank you, clerk. And we are done.